you come? I kind of feel you ought to be in on it. Certainly I will come. Number 14, you say? That's right. Poirot arrived at number 14 Bardsley Garden Mews almost at the same moment as a car drew up containing Japp and 3 other men. Number 14 was clearly marked out as the centre of interest. A big circle of people, chauffeurs, their wives, errand boys, loafers, well-dressed passers-by, and innumerable children were drawn up, all staring at number 14 with open mouths. A police constable in uniform stood on the step and did his best to keep back the curious. Alert-looking young men with cameras were busy and surged forward as Japp alighted. "Nothing for you now," said Japp, brushing them aside. He nodded to Poirot. "So, here you are. Let's get inside." They passed in quickly. The door shut behind them, and they found themselves squeezed together at the foot of a ladder-like flight of stairs. A man came to the top of the staircase, recognized Japp, and said, "Up here, sir." Japp and Poirot mounted the stairs. The man at the stair head opened a door on the left, and they found themselves in a small bedroom. "I thought you'd like me to run over the chief points, sir." "Quite right, Jameson," said Japp. "What about it?" Divisional Inspector Jameson took up the tale. "Deceased Mrs. Allen, sir. Lived here with a friend, Miss Plenderleith. Miss Plenderleith was staying away in the country and returned this morning. She let herself in with her key, was surprised to find no one about. A woman usually comes in at 9 o'clock to do for them. She went upstairs first into her own room, that's this room, and then across the landing to her friend's room. Door was locked on the inside. She rattled the handle, knocked and called, but couldn't get any answer. In the end, getting alarmed, she rang up the police station. That was at 10:45. We came along at once and forced the door open. Mrs. Allen was lying in a heap on the ground, shot through the head. There was an automatic in her hand, a Webley .25, and it looked a clear case of suicide." "Where's Miss Plenderleith now?" "She's downstairs in the sitting room, sir. A very cool, efficient young lady, I should say. Got her head on her." "Well, I'll talk to her presently. I'd better see Brett now." Accompanied by Poirot, he crossed the landing and entered the opposite room. A tall, elderly man looked up and nodded. "Oh, hello, Japp. Glad you got here. Funny business, this." Japp advanced towards him. Hercule Poirot sent a quick, searching glance round the room. It was much larger than the room they had just quitted. It had a built-out bay window, and whereas the other room had been a bedroom pure and simple, this was emphatically a bedroom disguised as a sitting room. The walls were silver, and the ceiling emerald green. There were curtains of a modernistic pattern in silver and green. There was a divan covered with a shimmering emerald green silk quilt, and numbers of gold and silver cushions. There was a tall antique walnut bureau, a walnut tallboy, and several modern chairs of gleaming chromium. On a low glass table, there was a big ashtray full of cigarette stubs. Delicately, Hercule Poirot sniffed the air. Then he joined Japp, where the latter stood looking down at the body. In a heap on the floor, lying as she had fallen from one of the chromium chairs, was the body of a young woman of perhaps 27. She had fair hair and delicate features. There was very little make-up on the face. It was a pretty, wistful, perhaps slightly stupid face. On the left side of the head was a mass of congealed blood. The fingers of the right hand were clasped round a small pistol. The woman was dressed in a simple frock of dark green, high to the neck. "Well, Brett, what's the trouble?" "Position's all right," said the doctor. "If she shot herself, she'd probably have slipped from the chair into just that position. The door was locked, and the window was fastened on the inside." "Well, that's all right, you say. Then what's wrong?" "Take a look at the pistol. I haven't handled it, waiting for the fingerprint man, but you can see quite well what I mean." Together, Poirot and Japp knelt down and examined the pistol closely. "Yeah, I see what you mean,"